Spanning the breadth of 6 continents, bears have evolved into some of the most versatile and resilient mammals on Earth, each species a living testament to the power of adaptation. Their presence stretches from the frozen Arctic tundra, where the polar bear treads silently across shifting sea ice, to the humid, tangled rainforests of Southeast Asia, where the elusive sun bear climbs high into the canopy. 8 distinct species: polar, brown, American black, Asiatic black, sun, sloth, spectacled and Himalayan, each occupy a unique ecological niche, shaped by the demands of their environment and the resources available within it. The polar bear, Ursus maritimus, is the largest terrestrial carnivore, perfectly engineered for life on the Arctic sea ice. Its elongated neck and narrow skull reduce heat loss, while massive, paddle-like paws distribute weight across thin ice and propel the bear through frigid waters. In contrast, the sun bear, Halictos malayanus, is the smallest of all bears, with a compact body, short, sleek fur to dissipate heat, and a prehensile tongue extending up to 25 centimeters, ideal for extracting honey and insects from deep crevices in the rainforest canopy. Polar bears are semi-aquatic, spending much of their lives on drifting ice floes and open water. Their dense underfur and oily guard hairs provide exceptional insulation, while a thick layer of subcutaneous fat, sometimes exceeding 10 centimeters, shields them from the cold. They rely on acute olfactory senses to detect seals breathing beneath the ice, and their patience is legendary, waiting motionless for hours at a seal's breathing hole before striking with lightning speed. Grizzly bears, a subspecies of the brown bear, and American black bears dominate the forests, mountains, and river valleys of North America. Grizzlies, with their pronounced shoulder hump and formidable claws, are powerful diggers unearthing roots and small mammals from beneath the soil. American black bears, Ursus americanus, display remarkable adaptability, thriving in habitats ranging from dense coniferous forests to swamps and even semi-arid scrublands. Their curved claws and flexible ankles make them expert climbers, able to ascend trees swiftly to escape danger or access food. The sun bear's short, glossy coat is the shortest of any bear species, an adaptation to the hot, humid climate of Southeast Asia. Its powerful forelimbs and long, sickle-shaped claws enable it to tear open termite mounds and decaying logs, while its keen sense of smell guides it to hidden caches of honey and fruit. The sun bear's large, protruding lips form a vacuum, allowing it to extract insects and nectar with remarkable efficiency. Bears are true omnivores, their diets shaped by seasonal abundance and local ecology. Brown bears in Alaska gorge on salmon during spawning runs, their jaws and teeth adapted for both crushing bones and grinding plant matter. Sloth bears, Molursus ursinus, possess a gap in their front teeth and highly mobile lips, allowing them to vacuum up ants and termites from underground nests. Spectacled bears, Tremarctos ornatus, are the only South American bear species, subsisting largely on fruits, bromeliads, and palm hearts in the misty Andean cloud forests. As autumn approaches, bears enter a state of hyperphagia, dramatically increasing their food intake to accumulate fat reserves essential for hibernation. Brown bears congregate at rivers teeming with salmon, using their immense strength and dexterity to snatch fish from turbulent waters. In other regions, bears forage for acorns, hazelnuts, and roots, stripping bark from trees to access nutrient-rich cambium. Every calorie consumed is converted into fat, which sustains them through the long, foodless months of winter dormancy. The bear's sense of smell is among the most acute in the animal kingdom, with olfactory bulbs proportionally larger than those of any other terrestrial mammal. This extraordinary ability allows them to detect carrion, ripe fruit, or potential mates from several kilometers away. Their hearing is finely tuned to pick up the faintest rustle of prey or the approach of rivals, while their vision, though less developed, is sensitive to movement and capable of distinguishing colors, aiding in the identification of ripe fruits and edible plants. Anatomically, bears are built for strength and endurance. Their robust skeletons support massive muscles, particularly across the shoulders and forelimbs, enabling them to dig, climb, and run with surprising agility. The structure of their paws, broad with non-retractable claws, provides traction on slippery surfaces and serves as formidable tools for excavating food or defending against threats. Their fur varies in length and density according to climate, with polar bears possessing a dense undercoat and oily guard hairs for insulation, while tropical species have shorter, sparser coats to dissipate heat. Bear cubs are born during the mother's winter dormancy, typically in secluded dens dug into earth, snow, or beneath tree roots. Weighing less than a kilogram at birth, they are blind, toothless, and covered in fine, pale fur. Over the following months, nourished exclusively by their mother's rich milk, they grow rapidly, emerging from the den in spring to explore their surroundings under her vigilant supervision. Playful interactions among siblings foster coordination, strength, and social skills vital for survival. Maternal investment in bears is profound and enduring. Mothers fiercely defend their offspring from predators such as wolves, large cats, or rival bears, often risking their own lives in the process. They guide their cubs across rivers, through dense forests, and over rugged terrain, imparting essential knowledge about food sources, den sites, and the dangers of the wild. This period of dependency can last up to 3 years, after which the young bears disperse to establish their own territories. In Asia and South America, lesser-known bear species exhibit remarkable ecological specialization. The Asiatic black bear, Ursus tibetanus, is distinguished by its white chest crescent and preference for rugged, forested mountains, where it forages for nuts, berries, and insects. Sloth bears, with their shaggy coats and elongated snouts, carry their cubs on their backs as they traverse Indian grasslands in search of termites and fruit. Spectacled bears, the only extant bear species native to South America, are adept climbers, often constructing leafy platforms in trees to rest or feed. Bears possess advanced cognitive abilities, demonstrated through problem-solving, tool use, and memory. They have been observed manipulating objects to access food, opening containers, and even using rocks or sticks as tools. Their spatial memory enables them to remember the locations of food sources, den sites, and migration routes across vast territories. This intelligence is complemented by a natural curiosity, driving them to investigate novel objects and environments. Each bear species is intricately woven into the fabric of its ecosystem, fulfilling roles as apex predators, seed dispersers, and ecosystem engineers. By preying on weak or sick animals, they help maintain healthy prey populations. Their foraging behavior, such as digging and overturning logs, aerates the soil and promotes plant growth. As they consume fruits and berries, they disperse seeds across vast distances, facilitating forest regeneration and biodiversity. The survival strategies of bears are as diverse as their habitats. In temperate and polar regions, bears enter a state of torpor or true hibernation, reducing metabolic rates and recycling waste products to conserve energy during periods of food scarcity. In tropical climates, some species remain active year-round, adjusting their activity patterns to avoid extreme heat or seasonal flooding. Their resilience is evident in their ability to endure harsh winters, torrential rains, and fierce winds, emerging each spring to reclaim their place in the wild. As we embark on this journey across continents and climates, we will witness the extraordinary diversity and adaptability of bears in their natural habitats. From the silent tread of a polar bear on Arctic ice to the secretive climb of a spectacled bear in the Andean mist, each moment reveals new facets of their biology, behavior, and ecological significance. Through detailed observation and scientific insight, we will uncover the intricate lives of these remarkable animals, creatures of strength, intelligence, and enduring mystery, whose survival is inextricably linked to the health of the world's wild places. As the final remnants of winter recede from the jagged peaks and shadowed valleys of North America's mountain ranges, grizzly bears stir within their secluded dens. Months of hibernation have left their bodies gaunt, muscles diminished, and fat reserves nearly exhausted. Driven by a powerful physiological urge, these bears emerge into the crisp air, their senses sharpened by hunger and the need to restore their strength. Each step through the melting snow is deliberate, as they navigate the transformed landscape, alert to every sound and scent that signals the arrival of spring. In these early days, the landscape is a patchwork of thawing meadows and damp earth. Grizzlies methodically search for the first flush of edible plants, tender shoots, young grasses, and the succulent roots hidden beneath the soil. Their powerful forelimbs and long, curved claws are perfectly adapted for excavating bulbs and tubers, which are rich in carbohydrates and essential minerals. Occasionally, they strip bark from young willows or chew on emerging sedges, extracting every possible nutrient. Each mouthful is vital, jump-starting their metabolism and beginning the slow process of rebuilding tissue lost during the long winter fast. As the days lengthen and temperatures rise, the bears' dense winter coats begin to loosen. Seeking relief from the persistent itch of shedding fur, grizzlies are drawn to the rough bark of pine and spruce trees. They stand upright, pressing their backs and flanks against the trunks, twisting and contorting to reach the most troublesome spots. With each vigorous rub, clumps of old hair are left behind, sometimes drifting to the forest floor or clinging to the bark. This behavior not only aids in grooming, but also deposits a unique blend of oils and secretions from specialized skin glands, creating a distinct scent signature that lingers long after the bear has moved on. These so-called rubbing trees become focal points within the bear's territories. Over time, the bark is polished smooth by repeated use, and the ground beneath is trampled by heavy paws. Each bear's scent, deposited through sebaceous glands in their skin, conveys a wealth of information: identity, age, sex, reproductive status, and even recent diet. The chemical complexity of these markings allows other bears to interpret the messages with remarkable accuracy. Approaching these trees with caution, newcomers pause to sniff, sometimes circling the trunk or rubbing their own bodies to add their signature to the communal archive. The act of decoding these olfactory signals is a sophisticated process. By carefully analyzing the scent layers, a bear can determine not only who has visited recently, but also the emotional state and health of the previous visitor. The presence of dominant males' scent may prompt a younger bear to avoid the area, while the subtle cues left by a female in estrus can attract potential mates. This nuanced communication system helps minimize direct confrontations, reducing the risk of injury in a world where survival depends on physical condition. When food is plentiful, such as during the explosion of spring vegetation or the arrival of spawning fish, grizzlies may be seen in closer proximity. Even in these temporary gatherings, a delicate balance is maintained. Subtle shifts in posture, ear position, and the angle of approach communicate intent and establish boundaries. A sideways glance or a low, rumbling vocalization can diffuse tension, allowing multiple bears to feed within sight of one another while maintaining a respectful distance. These interactions are brief and carefully managed, as the risk of aggression is never far from the surface. As the season progresses, the grizzlies' menu expands dramatically. Berries ripen in sunlit clearings, and bears gorge on huckleberries, blueberries, and service berries, their lips and fur stained with vibrant juice. Insects become a valuable protein source. Bears flip over logs and rocks to uncover beetles, ants, and larvae, consuming thousands in a single sitting. Along riverbanks, their keen eyesight and patience are put to the test as they stalk salmon, timing their strikes with precision to snatch fish from the rushing current. Each meal is a calculated effort to maximize caloric intake, building the fat reserves essential for the next hibernation. Throughout these productive months, the ritual of scent marking remains a constant thread in the fabric of grizzly society. Bears revisit favored trees, updating their chemical messages and reading the latest news from their neighbors. The act of pausing to sniff a low branch or rub a cheek against bark is both a declaration and an inquiry, shaping the invisible boundaries that define each bear's range. These silent exchanges influence movement patterns, mating opportunities, and the avoidance of rivals, weaving a complex social network across the vast wilderness. In this intricate world, communication is a continuous, multi-layered process. Every scent mark, every scratch on a tree, and every subtle gesture, whether a flick of the ear or a pause to sample the wind, contributes to the dynamic society of the grizzly bear. These behaviors, honed by generations of adaptation, allow bears to coexist, compete, and thrive in an environment where survival depends on both strength and the ability to interpret the silent language of the wild. In the boundless, icy wilderness of the Arctic, the polar bear's existence is a relentless odyssey shaped by the pursuit of sustenance. Here, the landscape is a mosaic of shifting sea ice, sculpted by wind and temperature, stretching endlessly beneath a pale, sunless sky. The polar bear, Ursus maritimus, is the undisputed apex predator of this realm, yet its life is governed by the elusive presence of seals, its primary prey. These marine mammals, cloaked in blubber, are the bear's only reliable source of the dense calories required to withstand the brutal, bone-chilling cold that defines this environment. Each day, the polar bear embarks on a solitary trek across a frozen labyrinth, its massive paws distributing weight to prevent it from breaking through the fragile crust of snow. The bear's silhouette moves with deliberate caution, nostrils flaring as it surveys the horizon for the faintest disturbance, a whisper of movement, a subtle shift in the ice. Despite its formidable strength and size, the odds are stacked against it. Only a tiny fraction of hunts result in a successful kill. Every failed attempt is a costly expenditure of energy, forcing the bear to draw upon its carefully hoarded fat reserves, which dwindle with each passing day without food. When a hunt finally succeeds, the reward is immense. A single ringed or bearded seal, hauled from its breathing hole, provides a feast of rich blubber and meat. The polar bear tears through the thick hide with powerful jaws, consuming the most energy-dense portions first. This meal can sustain the bear for up to a week, allowing it to rest and recover from the rigors of the hunt. Yet the process is grueling, requiring the bear to remain motionless for hours, sometimes days, beside a barely visible hole in the ice, every muscle tensed, ears attuned to the faintest splash or exhalation from below. The polar bear's olfactory sense is a marvel of evolution. Its nose, black and moist, can detect the scent of a seal from over a kilometer away, even when the animal is concealed beneath thick, wind-packed snow and solid ice. This extraordinary ability allows the bear to locate breathing holes and dens that would otherwise be invisible in the monochrome landscape. The bear moves with purpose, following invisible scent trails, pausing to test the air and adjusting its course with subtle shifts of its massive head. As the brief Arctic summer approaches, the sea ice undergoes a dramatic transformation. Solid sheets fracture into a chaotic patchwork of floes, separated by widening channels of frigid water. The polar bear is forced to adapt, leaping from one unstable platform to the next, or plunging into the icy sea to swim for miles in search of new hunting grounds. Each crossing is fraught with danger. The cold saps strength, and the distance between floes grows ever greater, demanding both endurance and navigational skill. With every passing year, the Arctic's transformation accelerates. The ice becomes thinner, more fragmented, and less predictable. Polar bears are increasingly stranded on shrinking patches of ice, forced to travel vast distances in search of prey. Exhaustion is a constant threat, as is starvation. The once reliable hunting grounds are vanishing, replaced by open water and unstable platforms that offer little refuge or opportunity. Despite these mounting challenges, the polar bear remains exquisitely adapted to its environment. Its fur, composed of dense underwool and hollow guard hairs, traps air for insulation and buoyancy. Beneath the skin, a thick layer of fat shields vital organs from the cold and provides energy during lean times. The bear's limbs are powerful and elongated, ending in broad, furred paws that function as both snowshoes and paddles, enabling efficient movement across ice and through water. The Arctic's weather is merciless and unpredictable. Sudden blizzards can reduce visibility to nothing, coating the landscape in a swirling white veil. Temperatures can plunge without warning, freezing exposed skin in moments. The polar bear endures these extremes, its body hunched against the wind, eyes narrowed to slits as it presses onward through drifts and over jagged ridges of ice. Every step is a testament to its resilience and mastery of this formidable domain. Life at the top of the world is a ceaseless trial of adaptation and endurance. For the polar bear, every moment is shaped by the interplay of hunger, weather, and the shifting ice. It is a solitary existence, defined by the need to outwit prey and outlast the elements. In this stark, breathtaking wilderness, the polar bear's struggle is both majestic and precarious, a living embodiment of survival against the odds, in one of the planet's most unforgiving and awe-inspiring environments. The polar bear's body is a marvel of evolutionary engineering, meticulously crafted for survival in the relentless Arctic wilderness. Every anatomical detail, from the cellular level to the grand scale of its physique, is specialized for enduring the world's most punishing environment, where temperatures can plummet to -40 degrees Celsius and the sun may vanish for months at a time. In this frozen expanse, only the most extraordinary adaptations can ensure survival. Beneath the polar bear's creamy white fur lies a formidable layer of blubber, sometimes exceeding 10 centimeters in thickness. This blubber acts as a thermal barrier, storing energy and insulating vital organs from the Arctic's bone-chilling cold. The fur itself is a two-tiered system. A dense woolly undercoat traps body heat, while the longer translucent guard hairs are hollow, capturing air and enhancing buoyancy during long swims between ice flows. Remarkably, the skin beneath this fur is jet black, a unique adaptation that maximizes absorption of the sun's faint rays, converting scarce light into precious warmth even during the brief Arctic summer. The polar bear's paws are immense, sometimes measuring nearly 30 centimeters across. This broad surface area acts like a natural snowshoe, distributing the bear's weight and preventing it from sinking into deep, powdery snow. The soles are covered in rough dermal papillae, tiny grip-enhancing bumps that provide traction on slick, frozen surfaces. Between the toes, tufts of fur add insulation and further improve grip, while the claws, long and sharply curved, are perfectly adapted for anchoring onto ice, hauling prey from the water, and excavating breathing holes in the sea ice. The polar bear's head is streamlined, minimizing resistance as it swims for miles in frigid waters. Its nostrils can close tightly, preventing water from entering during dives. The ears are small, rounded, and densely furred, reducing heat loss and protecting sensitive tissue from frostbite. Even the tail is short and compact, further limiting exposure to the cold. Every contour of the polar bear's face and body is shaped by the demands of its icy domain. The polar bear's fur is not merely an insulator, it is a masterstroke of camouflage. Each hair refracts and scatters light, rendering the bear nearly invisible against the endless white of the Arctic ice. This cryptic coloration is essential for stalking wary seals, allowing the bear to approach undetected across vast, open expanses. Even in the shifting twilight of polar night, the bear's silhouette dissolves into the snow, making it a ghostly presence on the ice. Despite its formidable adaptations, the polar bear faces daunting adversaries. Walrus herds, armored with thick hides and wielding massive tusks, present a nearly impenetrable defense. A single miscalculation can result in serious injury, so the polar bear must rely on patience, intelligence, and the element of surprise. It may wait for hours, even days, for the perfect opportunity to strike, demonstrating remarkable endurance and strategic prowess. Every sense is honed for survival. The polar bear's sense of smell is legendary, capable of detecting a seal's breathing hole from over a kilometer away, and even sensing prey beneath thick layers of snow and ice. Its powerful limbs propel it across vast distances, whether swimming between ice floes or trekking over frozen tundra. The bear's metabolism can slow dramatically during lean times, conserving energy until the next hunting opportunity arises. Yet even with these extraordinary adaptations, the polar bear's life is a relentless struggle. Blizzards can strip away visibility and warmth in moments, while shifting ice threatens to isolate the bear from its hunting grounds. Each day is a test of endurance, ingenuity, and resilience. In the Arctic's unforgiving embrace, the polar bear stands as a testament to nature's power to shape life against all odds, an apex predator, yet forever at the mercy of the elements. At dawn, a thick veil of mist clings to the ancient conifers lining North America's temperate coastline. From the shadowy embrace of the undergrowth, a female black bear emerges, her glossy fur beaded with droplets from the night's fog. Two cubs, their coats still soft and faintly mottled, press close to her flanks, their small noses twitching as they inhale the briny tang of the ocean. The forest floor gives way to a rugged shoreline, where barnacle-encrusted rocks glisten in the pale morning light, and the rhythmic pulse of the tide echoes against the stones. Here, the intertidal zone is a living mosaic, constantly reshaped by the ebb and flow of seawater. As the tide recedes, it exposes a labyrinth of tide pools and slick boulders, each crevice sheltering a hidden world. The mother bear moves with deliberate precision, her powerful forelimbs overturning rocks to reveal scuttling shore crabs and clusters of mussels clinging stubbornly to the stone. She sniffs intently, her acute sense of smell detecting the faintest trace of prey beneath layers of kelp and driftwood. With practiced ease, she plucks a crab from its hiding place, crushing its shell with a single bite, while her cubs watch, wide-eyed and attentive. The bears supplement their protein-rich finds with mouthfuls of emerald-green seaweed, tearing it from the rocks and chewing slowly, extracting vital minerals and nutrients that the awakening forest cannot yet provide. The cubs, still unsteady on their oversized paws, attempt to mimic their mother's foraging techniques. They paw at stones, sometimes managing to flip one over, only to startle a tiny crab or reveal a wriggling sandworm. Their movements are awkward, but each effort is a lesson, learning to distinguish the subtle scent of edible shellfish from the sharp tang of barnacles, to recognize the glistening sheen of fresh kelp, and to avoid the stinging touch of sea anemones. The mother occasionally pauses, watching her offspring with a patient gaze, intervening only when a cub's curiosity leads it too close to a sharp rock or a slippery patch of algae. Suddenly, the tranquil scene is disrupted by the silent approach of a large male black bear. His massive frame moves with surprising stealth across the uneven terrain, his dark silhouette looming against the pale stones. The air grows tense as he draws nearer, his nostrils flaring as he picks up the scent of the family. In the wild, adult males pose a significant threat to cubs, driven by instinct to eliminate potential rivals and assert dominance over prime feeding grounds. The mother bear's demeanor shifts instantly. She emits a deep, guttural warning, a sound that vibrates through the still air. The cubs, attuned to her every signal, react without hesitation. Their claws dig into the rough bark of a nearby Sitka spruce, and they ascend with astonishing speed, their bodies pressed close to the trunk as they climb higher and higher. The mother remains at the base, her body tense, ears flattened, ready to defend her young if necessary. The cubs, perched among the branches, peer down with wide, anxious eyes, their hearts pounding as they wait for the danger to pass. The male, undeterred by the commotion, pauses to rub his massive shoulders against a tree trunk, leaving behind a pungent signature of his presence. He stands on his hind legs, raking his claws down the bark, marking his territory with both scent and visual cues. Satisfied, he turns away from the family, lumbering along the shoreline in search of his own meal, his heavy paw prints pressed deep into the wet sand. Only when the last echo of the male's footsteps fades does the mother bear lift her head and utter a series of soft, throaty calls. The cubs, reassured by her voice, begin their cautious descent, their claws scraping gently against the bark. They rejoin her at the forest's edge, pressing close to her side, their bodies trembling with the aftershock of adrenaline. The shoreline, ever-changing and unpredictable, is both a classroom and a crucible. Each outing exposes the cubs to new challenges: the sudden crash of a wave, the sharp cry of a gull overhead, the shifting patterns of light and shadow as clouds drift across the sky. The cubs learn to move with stealth, to freeze at the faintest hint of danger, and to interpret the subtle cues in their mother's posture and voice. The mother's vigilance never wavers. Her eyes constantly scan the horizon, her ears attuned to every sound, her nose sampling the air for any sign of threat or opportunity. The relationship between mother and cubs is defined by a delicate balance of protection and independence. Through gentle nudges, soft grunts, and the occasional firm push, she guides her young, teaching them the boundaries of safety and the skills of self-reliance. The cubs respond with trust, following her lead as they navigate the tangled driftwood and slippery stones, their senses sharpening with every step. As spring deepens and the days stretch longer, the cubs' confidence grows. They chase each other across the sand, wrestling and tumbling in playful bouts that mimic the struggles of adulthood. They practice climbing, leaping from low branches and scrambling up fallen logs, their muscles growing stronger with each attempt. The mother leads them along the shifting boundary between forest and sea, her path winding through a landscape shaped by wind, water, and time. For these black bears, the seashore is not merely a source of food, but a dynamic environment that demands constant adaptation, a place where every moment is a lesson in survival, resilience, and the intricate art of living wild. In the heart of Finland's vast boreal forests, where ancient pines and birches stretch skyward and the ground is still patched with the remnants of winter snow, a brown bear mother stirs within her secluded den. The den, carved into a hillside and lined with dry leaves and moss, has sheltered her and her newborn cubs through the long, frigid months. Now, as the first rays of spring sunlight filter through the trees, she emerges cautiously, her thick fur ruffled, and her breath forming clouds in the cold dawn air. At her side, two tiny cubs, barely the size of badgers, blink at the unfamiliar brightness, their movements hesitant and unsteady as they step onto the damp earth for the very first time. The forest is awakening from its winter slumber. Jays call from the canopy, and the distant drumming of a woodpecker echoes through the trees. For the cubs, every scent and sound is new, a world of moss, lichen, and tangled roots to explore. Yet beneath this tranquil surface, danger is ever present. The greatest threat to these vulnerable cubs comes not from wolves or lynx, but from other brown bears. Adult males, driven by the urge to mate, patrol the territory, their presence signaled by deep paw prints and the musky scent they leave on tree trunks. These males are unpredictable, and their arrival can spell disaster for the young. The mother's vigilance is absolute. Her senses are acutely attuned to the subtlest changes in her environment. She lifts her broad head, nostrils flaring as she samples the breeze for any trace of arrival. Her ears, capable of detecting the faintest rustle of movement, swivel independently, tracking the sounds of the forest. Every muscle in her body is primed for action, her posture shifting from relaxed to alert in an instant. She positions herself between her cubs and any perceived threat, her massive frame a living barrier. Communication between mother and cubs is a sophisticated silent language, With a subtle tilt of her head or a low, barely audible grunt, she conveys urgency or reassurance. The cubs, instinctively attuned to her cues, freeze in place or melt into the undergrowth at her signal. A gentle nudge from her nose sends them scurrying to safety, while a soft chuff tells them it is safe to explore once more. This nonverbal dialogue is crucial for their survival, especially in the dense, shadowy forest where visibility is limited. When the scent or sound of a male bear drifts through the trees, the mother's response is immediate and decisive. She signals the cubs, who instinctively dash to the nearest tree. Their small, sharp claws dig into the rough bark as they climb with surprising agility, ascending to the upper branches where the foliage offers both concealment and safety. From their high vantage point, the cubs remain motionless, blending into the dappled light and shadow, while the mother remains below, ready to confront any intruder. The mother's defensive display is both calculated and formidable. She rises onto her hind legs, towering above the undergrowth, her fur bristling to exaggerate her size. With a guttural roar that reverberates through the forest, she warns the intruder of her readiness to defend her young. She paws at the ground, sending clumps of earth flying, and sways her massive head from side to side, a clear signal of aggression. This combination of sound, movement, and sheer presence is often enough to deter even the boldest rival. Confronted by such a determined adversary, the male bear typically reassesses the situation. Weighing the risks of injury against the potential reward, he hesitates, then slowly backs away, his massive form melting into the dense thickets. The forest quickly swallows his retreat, and the immediate threat to the cubs passes. Only when the mother is certain that the danger has truly passed does she emit a soft, throaty call, a unique vocalization reserved for reassurance. The cubs, still clinging to the branches, respond instantly, descending with care. Their descent is cautious, each movement deliberate, as they test the strength of the branches and the roughness of the bark before finally dropping to the forest floor and hurrying to their mother's side. In the aftermath, the family retreats to a secluded thicket where the mother gathers her cubs close. She shelters them beneath her massive body, her warmth and bulk providing both comfort and protection. The cubs nuzzle against her, their tiny bodies pressed into her thick fur as they rest, safe for the moment from the dangers that lurk beyond their hidden sanctuary. As the days lengthen and the snow recedes, the mother leads her cubs deeper into the forest. She teaches them to forage, overturning logs to reveal colonies of ants and beetle larvae, and guiding them to patches of edible roots and shoots. The cubs mimic her every move, learning to distinguish between safe and dangerous plants, and practicing the skills they will one day need to survive alone. Each journey is a lesson in navigation, as they weave through dense undergrowth and skirt the edges of bogs and streams. As dusk settles over the ancient forest, the bear family pauses in a clearing, their silhouettes framed by the fading light and the rising mist. The mother stands protectively over her cubs, her gaze sweeping the shadows for any sign of danger. In this wild, untamed landscape, her strength, intelligence, and unwavering devotion are the cubs' only defense. Their survival is a testament to her resilience and to the intricate, often harsh balance of life in the northern forests. On the remote and rugged peninsula of Hokkaido, brown bears traverse a landscape sculpted by volcanic peaks and ancient forests. Their massive paws press silently into the damp earth, leaving deep impressions among tangled roots and dew-laden moss. Each step is deliberate, guided by an acute awareness of the shifting wind and the faintest rustle of leaves overhead. Along the riverbanks, the air is thick with the scent of wet stone and decaying wood. Here, the bear's world is defined by the relentless flow of water, its surface broken by the silver flash of salmon fighting upstream. The bears approach with a quiet intensity, their eyes sharp and unblinking, nostrils flaring as they gauge the precise moment to strike. The river itself is a living tapestry, currents swirling around mossy boulders, sunlight refracting through droplets as salmon leap and fall. Bears stand motionless in the shallows, their fur slick and darkened by the cold water, muscles tensed beneath the surface. Each movement is a study in patience, a slow shift of weight, a sudden lunge, the arc of a paw slicing through the current. In the pale light of dawn, mist coils above the water, blurring the boundary between river and forest. A bear's breath hangs in the chill air, ears swiveling to catch the faint splash of a distant fish. The forest canopy stirs overhead, sending a cascade of needles and droplets to the ground below. Every sense is engaged, eyes scanning the ripples for movement, nose twitching to decipher the layered scents of fish, earth, and pine. The bear's claws grip slick stones as they maneuver through the shallows, their reflections fractured by the shifting surface. When the hunt is done, the bears retreat to the forest's edge, where shafts of sunlight pierce the dense undergrowth and the ground is soft with fallen leaves. Here they rest in the cool shade, muscles relaxing, ears attuned to the distant calls of birds and the gentle sigh of wind through ancient branches. The landscape is ever-changing, autumn leaves swirling in eddies, the river's song rising and falling with the season. The bears' lives are shaped by these rhythms, their survival dependent on an intricate dance of instinct, adaptation, and the ceaseless demands of hunger. In this wild and untamed realm, every detail is magnified. The glint of sunlight on wet fur, the subtle shift of shadows beneath towering conifers, the silent passage of a bear vanishing into the depths of the forest. Here the brown bear endures, a living testament to the raw beauty and profound resilience of nature. Deep within the intricate emerald labyrinth of Borneo's ancient rainforests, the elusive sun bear begins its daily ascent, a journey that few other mammals are physically equipped to undertake. The sun bear, the smallest of all bear species, weighs less than half of its larger relatives, yet its compact muscular frame is a marvel of evolutionary adaptation. This diminutive bear is uniquely designed for an arboreal existence, where sunlight filters through a dense mosaic of overlapping leaves, tangled vines, and towering trunks, creating a world suspended high above the forest floor. With astonishing agility, the sun bear navigates the tangled canopy, moving from branch to branch in search of sustenance. Its foraging is a year-round endeavor, dictated by the ever-changing availability of food in the rainforest. The sun bear's diet is remarkably diverse, reflecting the richness of its environment. It seeks out ripe figs and other forest fruits, tears open decaying logs to uncover colonies of termites, and peels away bark with precision to extract beetle larvae. Occasionally it discovers wild honey, a rare and highly prized delicacy, hidden deep within the labyrinthine hollows of ancient trees. The sun bear's physical adaptations are extraordinary. Its long, sickle-shaped claws are perfectly engineered for climbing, allowing it to dig into even the smoothest bark and ascend vertical trunks with ease. Unlike other bears, the sun bear possesses highly flexible, rotating ankles, which enable it to grip and maneuver along branches at seemingly impossible angles. Its compact body and powerful limbs provide the strength and balance needed to stretch between swaying branches, while its low center of gravity helps it maintain stability on the narrowest of perches. Driven by an insatiable craving for honey, the sun bear will ascend as high as 40 meters above the ground, venturing into the uppermost reaches of the canopy. Here it braves swarms of fiercely protective bees to access hives hidden in the most inaccessible hollows. The sun bear's tongue, which can extend up to 25 centimeters, is a specialized tool, capable of probing deep into crevices to extract golden honey and nourishing larvae embedded within the wood. This remarkable adaptation allows the bear to exploit food sources that remain out of reach for nearly all other rainforest inhabitants. The sun bear's dense, coarse fur and thick, resilient skin provide a formidable barrier against the relentless stings of angry bees. Even as clouds of insects swarm around its face and paws, the bear remains undeterred, methodically extracting every drop of honey and every morsel of larvae. This resilience gives the sun bear a distinct advantage in the treetops, where few other animals can withstand such determined opposition from the hive's defenders. High above the dangers that lurk on the forest floor, the sun bear finds sanctuary in the treetops. Here it constructs simple nests from leafy branches, curling up to rest in the dappled sunlight. These elevated refuges offer protection from terrestrial predators and reduce competition with larger mammals that are unable to reach such heights. The sun bear's solitary nature is well suited to this vertical world, where each individual carves out its own territory among the branches. Every aspect of the sun bear's anatomy is finely tuned for survival in this challenging environment. Its rough, textured footpads provide exceptional traction on slippery, moss-covered branches, while its acute sense of smell allows it to detect the faintest scent of food from remarkable distances. The bear's sensitive nose twitches constantly, sampling the humid air for traces of fruit, insects, or honey hidden somewhere in the vast, layered canopy. Among the world's bear species, the sun bear is a true specialist. While its relatives roam tundra, mountains, or temperate forests, the sun bear has evolved to master the complexities of tropical rainforest life. Its existence is a vivid demonstration of how natural selection shapes creatures to exploit the unique opportunities and overcome the formidable challenges of their habitats. In this vertical realm, where sunlight and shadow dance across endless layers of green, only the most agile and resourceful endure. The sun bear's treetop quest is a testament to the power of adaptation, the ingenuity of evolution, and the enduring wildness at the heart of Borneo's rainforest. As our exploration nears its end, we are left with a profound appreciation for the astonishing complexity and adaptability of bears, creatures whose very existence is a living chronicle of evolution's artistry and the relentless forces of the natural world. Spanning continents and climates, each bear species has developed a suite of specialized traits: thick, insulating fur, powerful limbs, and acute senses, each precisely honed to the demands of their particular ecosystems, from the humid jungles of Southeast Asia to the windswept tundra of the far north. In the Arctic, polar bears traverse endless fields of fractured sea ice, their translucent fur and black skin engineered to trap and retain precious warmth, while in the dense emerald forests of Borneo, sun bears, smallest of their kind, clamber up towering trees, their curved claws and flexible tongues perfectly adapted for extracting honey and insects from hidden crevices. Everyday bears engage in a tireless quest for sustenance, turning over stones in search of grubs, stripping bark to reveal beetle larvae, or standing motionless in icy rivers, waiting for the precise moment to snatch a leaping salmon. As seasons shift, they excavate dens beneath tangled roots or deep within snowdrifts, crafting secure refuges to weather the bitter cold or raise their young. The accumulation of fat is a matter of survival. Each mouthful of salmon, each handful of berries, is converted into dense reserves of energy. These stores sustain bears through months of fasting, when snow blankets the land and food vanishes, and their bodies enter a state of suspended animation, heartbeats slowing, breaths shallow, as they endure the long, silent winter. The maternal bond is a marvel of instinct and devotion. In the darkness of the den, blind and helpless cubs are nourished by their mother's milk, her warmth their only shield against the cold. As spring arrives, she leads them into the world, teaching them to recognize edible plants, to avoid danger, and to navigate the intricate tapestry of their environment. Bears possess an olfactory sense unrivaled in the mammalian world. With each inhalation, they decipher a complex mosaic of scents, detecting the faintest trace of a distant carcass, the subtle pheromones of a potential mate, or the warning musk of a rival. This invisible map guides their movements, shaping every decision in their solitary lives. Their anatomy is a masterpiece of adaptation. Broad, fur-padded paws distribute their weight across fragile snowfields, preventing them from breaking through the crust. Each step is silent, the claws retracting slightly to muffle sound, allowing them to approach prey or avoid detection by larger predators. Razor-sharp claws, curved and formidable, serve as versatile tools, digging for roots, tearing apart rotting logs in search of insects, or scaling the tallest trees in pursuit of safety or food. Their muscular shoulders and forelimbs provide the raw power needed to overturn boulders or defend against threats. Bears are keystone species, their presence shaping the very fabric of their habitats. As apex predators and opportunistic foragers, they regulate prey populations, disperse seeds through their scat, and create pathways through dense undergrowth, subtly engineering the landscapes they inhabit. The health of a forest or river can often be measured by the presence of bears. Where they roam, ecosystems flourish, streams run clear, salmon spawn in abundance, and ancient trees tower above a vibrant understory, all interconnected in a delicate balance. In the twilight hours, bears emerge from the shadows, their movements deliberate and cautious. They navigate by memory and instinct, following ancient trails along riverbanks and through meadows, attuned to the subtle changes in wind and light that signal opportunity or danger. In the moss-draped forests of Finland, brown bears patrol territories marked by generations past, while in the vast, rugged expanses of North America, grizzlies traverse mountain passes and valley floors, their journeys spanning hundreds of miles in search of food and solitude. Maternal vigilance is unwavering. A mother bear stands sentinel over her cubs, her senses heightened to every sound and movement. She teaches them to climb trees at the first sign of danger, to recognize the calls of birds that signal approaching threats, and to forage independently as they grow. Each bear is a vital thread in the intricate web of life, their daily routines linking forests, rivers, and mountains. Their migrations transport nutrients across vast distances, their foraging shapes plant communities, and their very presence maintains the equilibrium of the wild. The continued survival of bears is a testament to the resilience of wilderness itself. Their solitary figures moving through untouched landscapes are living reminders of the ancient, untamed forces that still persist on our planet, fragile yet enduring. To protect bears is to preserve the wild heart of the earth. Their future is inseparable from the fate of the forests, rivers, and mountains they inhabit. By ensuring their survival, we safeguard the intricate, irreplaceable beauty of the natural world for generations yet to come. High in the Andean mountains, where the air is thin and the landscape is perpetually veiled in drifting clouds, a seldom-seen inhabitant moves with deliberate grace. This is the domain of the Andean bear, or spectacled bear, the only bear species native to South America. Here, the forest is a living tapestry, branches heavy with moss, orchids clinging to trunks, and ferns unfurling in the filtered light. The bear's presence is almost spectral, its dark form gliding silently through the undergrowth, rarely leaving more than a fleeting impression on the sodden earth. The cloud forest itself is a marvel of biodiversity, suspended between the lowland jungles and the alpine grasslands. Here, the air is saturated with moisture, and the canopy forms a dense, multi-layered shield that captures the constant drizzle and fog. The Andean bear has evolved to thrive in this challenging environment, developing a suite of physical and behavioral adaptations that allow it to exploit resources inaccessible to most other mammals. Unlike their relatives in the north, Andean bears are exceptional climbers, spending much of their lives above ground. Their arboreal skills are unmatched among bears, enabling them to ascend towering trees with ease and navigate the vertical complexity of the forest. Their forelimbs are equipped with robust curved claws, perfectly suited for gripping slippery, moss-laden bark. Flexible ankle joints allow for remarkable agility, letting them pivot and maneuver along narrow branches in pursuit of food. This anatomical specialization is crucial for accessing the forest's upper layers, where fruit, bromeliads, and tender shoots are abundant. With a keen sense of balance, Andean bears can traverse branches scarcely wider than their own paws. They often construct temporary nests from leaves and twigs high in the canopy, providing both a vantage point and a secure resting place away from potential threats. These nests are used for sleeping, feeding, and even as refuges during heavy rainfall. The Andean bear's fur is uniquely adapted to the cloud forest's damp, chilly climate. Its dense, shaggy coat repels water and insulates against the persistent cold, while the underfur traps warmth close to the skin. This adaptation is vital for survival in an environment where temperatures can fluctuate dramatically between sunlit clearings and shadowed ravines. Each Andean bear is marked by a distinctive pattern of pale fur across its face and chest, resembling spectacles. These markings are as unique as fingerprints, providing natural camouflage amid the shifting light and tangled vines. The irregular shapes break up the bear's outline, making it nearly invisible in the dappled shade of the forest. The Andean bear's diet is a testament to its adaptability. It is an omnivore with a strong preference for plant matter, consuming a wide variety of fruits, leaves, and stems. The diversity of available food sources changes with altitude and season, requiring the bear to be both opportunistic and resourceful. During periods of abundance, the bears gorge on wild fruits such as avocados, figs, and passion fruit, often climbing high into the canopy to reach ripening clusters. Their dexterous lips and strong jaws allow them to manipulate and consume even the most challenging foods. When fruit is scarce, they turn to alternative sources, digging for insects beneath rotting logs, overturning stones in search of beetles and larvae, and occasionally preying on small mammals that inhabit the forest floor. The Andean bear is also known to raid bird nests, delicately extracting eggs from concealed locations high in the trees. This behavior requires both patience and precision, skills honed by a lifetime spent navigating the forest's vertical maze. Their powerful jaws are capable of cracking open tough palm nuts and peeling away the spiny leaves of bromeliads. Few other animals in the cloud forest can access these resources, giving the Andean bear a unique ecological niche. Water is a constant presence in the cloud forest, delivered by mist, rain, and countless streams that carve through the landscape. The bears are often seen near these waterways, where the humidity sustains a lush undergrowth and supports a rich diversity of life. Moving along ancient trails etched into the forest floor, the bears pause to drink from clear, cold streams fed by the perpetual condensation of clouds. These paths, shaped by generations of wildlife, connect feeding sites, resting places, and seasonal refuges. The Andean bear's sense of smell is extraordinarily acute, allowing it to detect ripe fruit, hidden insects, or the faintest scent of a potential meal from great distances. This olfactory prowess is essential in a habitat where visibility is often limited by fog and dense vegetation. Solitude is the norm for these bears. They roam vast territories alone, their encounters with others brief and infrequent. This solitary lifestyle reduces competition for food and minimizes the risk of conflict in an environment where resources can be unpredictable. The rhythm of the cloud forest is dictated by the seasons. Shifts in rainfall and temperature trigger waves of flowering and fruiting, influencing the bear's movements and foraging strategies. During the wet season, the forest bursts into life, while the dry months demand greater ingenuity and memory to locate hidden food sources. When fruit is plentiful, Andean bears become vital agents of seed dispersal. As they feed, seeds pass through their digestive systems and are deposited throughout the forest, promoting regeneration and maintaining the health of this intricate ecosystem. In leaner times, the bears rely on an intimate knowledge of their territory, seeking out secluded groves and forgotten clearings where food may still be found. Their survival depends on a finely tuned memory and an instinctive understanding of the forest's subtle cues. Cloaked in mist and mystery, the Andean bear stands as a living emblem of adaptation. Its existence is shaped by the interplay of altitude, rainfall, and the ever-shifting dance of fog and sunlight. Every movement, every choice is a response to the unique demands of this high-altitude world. In their solitary journeys through the cloud forest, Andean bears embody the resilience, complexity, and enduring mystery of one of Earth's most extraordinary ecosystems, a realm where few have ventured and where the secrets of survival are written in every silent step. Deep within the emerald labyrinth of China's cloud-draped mountains, a solitary giant panda emerges from the swirling morning mist. Its broad paws press softly into the damp earth, each step muffled by a thick carpet of moss and fallen bamboo leaves. The air is cool and heavy with the scent of rain-soaked foliage, and the only sound is the gentle rustle of leaves as the panda moves with deliberate, unhurried grace. Towering stalks of bamboo rise in dense, undulating waves, their slender trunks swaying in the faintest breeze. The panda navigates this living maze with practiced familiarity, its black and white fur standing out in stark contrast against the endless tapestry of green. Here, in this secluded sanctuary, the panda is both a guardian and a relic, a living bridge to a world that predates human memory. As dawn breaks, golden shafts of sunlight pierce the dense canopy, illuminating swirling motes of dust and pollen. The forest floor is a mosaic of shifting light and shadow, where ferns unfurl and tiny wildflowers bloom in hidden pockets of color. The panda pauses, nose twitching, as it inhales the crisp, earthy aroma of its ancient home. Slowly, the panda rouses from its mossy bed, stretching its powerful limbs and blinking sleep from its dark-ringed eyes. Its thick, woolly coat glistens with dew, each hair perfectly adapted to insulate against the mountain chill. The animal's rounded ears swivel, attuned to the faintest sounds, a distant bird call, the soft patter of falling leaves. With a ponderous yet fluid motion, the panda sets off through the undergrowth, its movements a blend of strength and gentleness. It weaves between bamboo thickets, occasionally pausing to sniff the air or investigate a fallen branch. Every action is guided by instinct, refined over countless generations to suit this unique and demanding environment. Bamboo dominates every aspect of this ecosystem, forming dense groves that stretch for miles across the mountainsides. The panda's world is defined by these resilient plants, whose hollow stems and tender shoots provide both shelter and sustenance. The forest is alive with subtle sounds, the creak of swaying bamboo, the distant trickle of a hidden stream. The panda settles beside a cluster of young bamboo, grasping a stalk with its elongated wrist bone, a pseudo-thumb unique among bears. With remarkable dexterity, it strips away the tough outer layers, exposing the tender core. Its powerful jaws and broad molars make quick work of the fibrous stems, each bite precise and efficient. The rhythmic crunch of bamboo reverberates through the glade, punctuating the stillness with a steady, meditative cadence. The panda consumes shoot after shoot, methodically working through up to 40 kilograms of bamboo each day. Its tongue and palate are perfectly adapted to separate leaves from stems, maximizing every morsel of nutrition in a diet that is both abundant and challenging. Beneath this tranquil routine lies a remarkable story of evolutionary ingenuity. The panda's existence is a delicate balance, shaped by the relentless demands of its environment and the limitations of its own biology. Despite its herbivorous diet, the panda's digestive system remains that of a carnivore, ill-equipped to break down cellulose. Its gut is short, and its stomach lacks the specialized chambers found in true grazers. To compensate, the panda relies on a diverse community of gut bacteria, which help extract vital nutrients from the tough bamboo fibers. Each mouthful is chewed with unwavering focus, the panda's broad molars grinding the fibrous stalks into a pulp. Digestion is slow and inefficient, so the animal must eat almost constantly, pausing only to rest and conserve precious energy. After hours of feeding, the panda seeks out a quiet refuge beneath arching bamboo or beside the gnarled roots of an ancient tree. There it curls into a loose ball, insulated from the damp by its dense fur. Sleep comes easily in the cool shade, and the panda's breathing slows to a gentle rhythm, undisturbed by the outside world. Solitude is the panda's constant companion. These bears are fiercely territorial, their home ranges marked by subtle signs and invisible boundaries. Encounters with others are rare, and the forest remains hushed, save for the occasional rustle of leaves or the distant call of a pheasant. To communicate, pandas leave scent marks along well-worn paths, rubbing their bodies against tree trunks and rocks. These invisible messages warn rivals to keep their distance, except during the brief window of spring when the air is filled with the haunting calls of potential mates. For a few fleeting weeks, the forest comes alive with the promise of new beginnings. In the hidden recesses of a hollow log or beneath a rocky overhang, a mother panda cradles her newborn cub. Barely larger than a stick of butter, the cub is blind, pink, and utterly dependent. For months it will remain sheltered in the den, nourished by rich milk and protected by the mother's unwavering vigilance. As the seasons shift, the bamboo forest transforms. In autumn, golden leaves drift to the ground, and the air grows crisp. The panda adapts to these subtle changes, adjusting its routines to match the ebb and flow of food and shelter. Raindrops bead on glossy bamboo leaves, refracting the pale light into shimmering jewels. The forest hums with life. Tiny insects scuttle along the stems and birds flit between branches, their calls echoing through the cool, damp air. Every detail is a testament to the intricate web of life that sustains this hidden world. When storms sweep across the mountains, the panda endures with stoic resilience. Its thick fur repels rain and insulates against biting winds, while its powerful limbs carry it through snowdrifts and swollen streams. Each challenge is met with quiet determination, a reflection of the panda's ancient lineage. In the silent corridors of the bamboo kingdom, the panda's story unfolds in exquisite detail, a narrative of survival, adaptation, and harmony, with a landscape sculpted by time. Every moment, every breath, is a testament to the enduring beauty and complexity of life in one of Earth's most enchanting and fragile realms. Far above the vibrant valleys and meticulously carved, terraced fields of Asia, the landscape transforms into a realm of formidable heights and dramatic contours. Here the atmosphere thins perceptibly, and clouds, heavy with moisture, drift so low they seem to brush the rugged slopes, shrouding the mountains in a perpetual veil of mist and mystery. In these remote elevations where few creatures dare to roam, a solitary figure navigates the labyrinth of stone and shadow, an Asiatic black bear, perfectly adapted to this challenging environment. Distinguished by the bold, crescent-shaped patch of white fur emblazoned across its chest, the Asiatic black bear moves with deliberate silence through dense undergrowth, its dark coat blending seamlessly with the dappled light of the highland forests. These forests, a mosaic of rhododendron thickets, ancient oaks, and towering pines, create a complex, multi-layered habitat teeming with life, yet fraught with hidden dangers and unpredictable weather. The bear's acute senses are constantly at work, ears swiveling to catch the faintest rustle, eyes scanning for movement, and nose twitching to decipher the intricate tapestry of scents that signal both opportunity and threat. As the first light of dawn filters through the canopy, painting the forest floor in shifting patterns, the mountains come alive with the distant calls of alpine birds, their songs echoing across the ridges while flocks wheel above the treetops, signaling the start of another day. The wind, cool and persistent, stirs the ancient branches, carrying with it the scents of blooming flowers, ripening fruit, and the subtle musk of other forest dwellers. Emerging from the security of a rocky den, the black bear pauses at the threshold, its breath visible in the crisp morning air, nostrils flaring as it samples the ever-changing aromas that drift on the breeze. With its nose raised, the bear reads the invisible messages left by other animals, the ripeness of distant fruit, and the approach of potential rivals or predators. Every step is purposeful, the bear investigates the forest floor, searching for insects beneath decaying logs, unearthing beetle larvae, and savoring the subtle flavors of the earth. Its muscular limbs, built for both power and agility, propel it up steep, rocky inclines and into the lofty branches of trees, where few other mammals can follow. High above the ground, the bear delicately plucks clusters of wild berries, its lips and tongue expertly maneuvering around thorns and leaves to reach the juiciest morsels. It supplements its diet with hard-shelled nuts, which it cracks open with powerful jaws, and tender shoots that emerge after the spring thaw, each bite a testament to its adaptability and resourcefulness. The bear's formidable curved claws are not only tools for climbing, but also for excavating roots, overturning stones, and prying apart rotting wood in search of hidden grubs and insects. With each movement, it uncovers the secrets of the forest floor, exposing colonies of ants or caches of seeds, and leaving behind a subtle trail of disturbance that marks its passage. As summer matures, the forest offers a rich tapestry of nourishment. Vivid orange persimmons dangle from slender branches, wild plums ripen in secluded glades, and the sweet golden combs of wild bees tempt the bear to brave swarms for a taste of honey and protein-rich larvae. But as the seasons shift, the mountains are transformed by winter's arrival. Snow falls in thick, silent curtains, blanketing the forest and muffling all sound. The peaks become islands of white, and the forest, once vibrant, is rendered still and austere, its resources locked beneath layers of ice and snow. In response, the bear seeks out a sheltered hollow, perhaps beneath a tangle of roots or within a natural cave, where it will spend the harshest months in a state of torpor. Curled tightly against the cold, its heartbeat slows, and its body draws on carefully stored fat reserves, conserving every ounce of energy until the first hints of spring stir the mountains once more. This vertical world, defined by extremes of climate and terrain, is a place where only the most adaptable survive. The Asiatic black bear, ever cautious and elusive, moves like a living shadow, its presence betrayed only by a fleeting glimpse between trees or the faint impression of tracks in soft earth. It blends into the shifting mosaic of rock, foliage, and light, a master of concealment in a landscape that is constantly changing with the seasons and the weather. Yet despite its secrecy, the bear plays a vital ecological role, maintaining the delicate balance of the forest by dispersing seeds, pruning vegetation, and influencing the distribution of countless plant and animal species. With every step, it shapes its environment, leaving behind seeds that will one day become towering trees and turning over soil that nourishes new growth. Through relentless storms, biting winds, and the ever-present threat of scarcity, the bear endures, its resilience a testament to the evolutionary pressures of its mountainous home. As dawn breaks and mist lingers in the valleys, the faint traces of the bear's passage fade, but its influence endures, woven into the very fabric of these high, wild places where nature's drama unfolds in silence and shadow. Beneath a velvet sky, the moon hangs suspended in a haze, its pale glow filtering through the tangled canopy of the Indian subcontinent. The air is thick with humidity, carrying the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves, while a gentle breeze stirs the uppermost branches, setting them whispering in the darkness. In this nocturnal world, the forest is alive with subtle movement, moths fluttering near blossoms, a civet slipping between roots, and the distant cautious tread of a porcupine. Every shadow conceals a story, every rustle a secret. The sal and teak woodlands, their trunks slick with moisture, form a labyrinth of towering pillars and dense undergrowth. Ferns unfurl in the gloom, and vines dangle like living ropes, creating a tapestry of green and shadow. From the deepest shadows, a solitary figure materializes, a sloth bear, its silhouette shifting with a slow, deliberate gait. Each step is measured, the bear's limbs moving with a peculiar rolling motion that betrays both strength and caution. Its fur, thick and unruly, absorbs the moonlight, casting a silvery sheen across its back. The bear's lips, prehensile and remarkably agile, twitch as it samples the air, while its nostrils flare, drawing in the complex tapestry of scents that define the night. The sloth bear is a master of the darkness, its senses sharpened for nocturnal life. Its eyes, adapted to low light, scan the undergrowth for the faintest movement, while its ears swivel independently, capturing the softest sounds, a beetle's crawl, the distant call of a nightjar. While most creatures surrender to sleep, the sloth bear thrives. Its world is one of silence and opportunity, where every moment is a chance to uncover hidden nourishment. Guided by an extraordinary sense of smell, the bear lowers its head, sweeping its snout just above the forest floor. It reads the ground like a living map, deciphering the invisible trails left by insects and the faint musk of distant prey. Its elongated snout, moist and flexible, hovers mere centimeters from the soil. The nostrils pulse, drawing in the earthy aroma of decomposing wood, the sharp tang of ant trails, and the subtle sweetness of ripening fruit. The bear pauses at a mound of earth, its attention fixed on the faint peppery scent of termites. It circles the mound, testing the air, pinpointing the precise location of the colony hidden beneath the surface. Its claws, long and elegantly curved, gleam in the moonlight. These are not weapons, but finely tuned tools, ivory blades designed for precision. With astonishing delicacy, the bear inserts its claws into the mound, prying apart the hardened crust without shattering it. Each movement is controlled, minimizing noise and disturbance. The mound yields, revealing a writhing mass of termites. The bear's claws flick aside debris, exposing the insects while leaving the structure largely intact for future meals. The bear halts, ears pricked, attuned to the faint chorus of insect wings and the subtle vibrations of life beneath the bark. It listens, motionless, for the telltale rustle of hidden prey. A deep, rhythmic huffing escapes its chest, vapor rising in the cool night air. The sound is steady, a sign of focused effort rather than aggression. The bear's lips purse tightly, forming a near-perfect seal. Muscles flex around the mouth, preparing for a feat of natural engineering. With a sudden powerful inhalation, the bear creates a vacuum, drawing hundreds of insects into its mouth in a single efficient breath. The sound, a wet, resonant slurp, echoes through the trees, unmistakable in the stillness. The forest responds with silence. Even the night birds pause, their calls stilled by the unfamiliar noise. The air vibrates with the memory of the bear's feeding, a brief disturbance in the nocturnal symphony. The bear's tongue, long and agile, flicks out to gather the last of the insects, sweeping them from crevices and cracks. Each movement is practiced, honed by generations of survival. Occasionally, the bear discovers a honeycomb, its waxy surface glistening with golden nectar. With careful precision, it licks the honey, savoring the complex flavors, floral, earthy, and sweet. Fallen fruit, bruised and fermenting, offers another reward. The bear crushes the pulp between its teeth, relishing the tangy juices that burst forth, a rare treat in the darkness. Time slips by unnoticed. The moon arcs across the sky, shadows shifting as the forest breathes and settles. Dew forms on leaves, glistening like tiny jewels in the faint light. The sloth bear moves with purpose, following ancient trails etched into the earth by countless generations. Its path is never random, each turn dictated by memory, instinct, and the subtle cues of the night. Open clearings are avoided, their exposure dangerous in a world of hidden threats. The bear hugs the shadows, weaving between trunks and beneath low-hanging branches, invisible to all but the most attentive eyes. The dense canopy above offers protection, its interlocking leaves filtering moonlight into shifting patterns on the forest floor. Here, the bear is cloaked in darkness, its movements masked by the play of light and shadow. Its eyes, deep and black, catch the faintest glimmer of light, reflecting it back in brief, liquid flashes. Every glance is calculated, every blink a moment of assessment. Fireflies drift low over the ground, their bioluminescent glow pulsing in silent communication. The bear watches, momentarily transfixed by the tiny lanterns that float through the undergrowth. A lizard scurries across rough bark, its scales catching the moonlight. The bear's ears twitch, registering the faint scrape, but it shows no interest. Its focus remains on the promise of food hidden beneath the soil. The bear's fur, dense and coarse, forms a natural barrier against biting insects and thorny undergrowth. Each strand is tipped with oil, repelling water and keeping the skin dry even in the wettest conditions. Its feet, broad and padded, distribute weight evenly, allowing the bear to move with surprising silence. Each step is cushioned, the claws retracting slightly to avoid unnecessary noise. As dawn approaches, the eastern horizon blushes with the first hints of gold. Shafts of light pierce the canopy, illuminating the mist that clings to the forest floor. The sloth bear, its coat dusted with earth and pollen, lumbers away from its feeding grounds. Its belly is full, its senses sated by the night's bounty. With a final glance over its shoulder, the bear slips into a dense thicket, vanishing from sight as seamlessly as it appeared. Only fresh paw prints remain, pressed deep into the soft, damp earth, a silent record of the bear's passage through the night. The leaves, still trembling from its passage, settle slowly, restoring the hush that defines the forest's midnight hours. In these fleeting moments before sunrise, the sloth bear is both a phantom and a forager, an ancient, solitary presence perfectly adapted to the intricate, ever-changing rhythms of the Indian night. As the forest awakens, the bear's world recedes into shadow, leaving behind a landscape shaped by its silent, purposeful wanderings. Across continents and through a tapestry of ecosystems, bears are far more than solitary wanderers. They are the silent architects of the wild, their influence woven intricately into the very fabric of the environments they inhabit. Each bear, with every step and action, leaves behind a legacy that shapes the land, water, and life around them in ways both visible and hidden. From the frozen expanse of the Arctic, where polar bears traverse shifting ice floes in search of seals, to the dense, humid jungles of Southeast Asia, where sun bears climb towering trees for honey and fruit, each species interacts with its environment in distinct and profound ways. Their behaviors, adapted to the demands of their unique habitats, leave ecological signatures that persist long after the bears themselves have moved on. In the boreal forests of the north, brown bears stand sentinel along salmon-rich rivers. Their acute senses guide them to the precise moment when salmon surge upstream, and with powerful swipes, they pluck the fish from the rushing water. After feeding, the remains of salmon are scattered across the forest floor. These nutrient-rich carcasses decompose, releasing phosphorus, nitrogen, and other minerals into the soil, which are otherwise scarce in these northern woodlands. The discarded remains become a banquet for a host of forest dwellers. Beetles, flies, and fungi break down the flesh while scavengers such as foxes and birds pick at the bones. The nutrients seep into the earth, nourishing the roots of ancient trees, which in turn support entire communities of mosses, lichens, and understory plants. In the misty cloud forests of the Andes, the Andean bear, or spectacled bear, forages among the dense foliage. With a keen sense of smell, it locates ripe fruits hidden beneath thick canopies, or clings to precarious branches to reach bromeliads and palm nuts. Their powerful jaws and specialized teeth allow them to crush the toughest shells and husks, accessing seeds and pulp that few other animals can reach. As they move through the forest, seeds pass through their digestive tract unharmed, or are dropped along their wandering paths, often far from the parent tree. This dispersal is crucial for the regeneration and genetic diversity of many plant species. Over time, these scattered seeds germinate, giving rise to new groves of fruiting trees. These young trees become vital resources for a multitude of forest inhabitants. Birds nest in their branches, monkeys feed on their fruit, and insects pollinate their blossoms. The bear's appetite, seemingly simple, is in fact a driving force behind the renewal and expansion of the forest, ensuring that the cycle of growth and decay continues unbroken. On the steep, rugged slopes of the Himalayas, Asiatic black bears dig with formidable claws in search of tubers, roots, and insects hidden beneath the soil. Their digging turns over the earth, breaking up compacted soil and allowing air and moisture to penetrate deeper layers, which is essential for healthy plant growth. These freshly disturbed patches become microhabitats, attracting worms, beetles, and small mammals that thrive in the loose, nutrient-rich earth. The increased soil aeration also promotes the decomposition of organic matter, further enriching the habitat. After rainfall, the depressions left by bear paws fill with water, creating ephemeral pools. These tiny oases provide critical hydration for frogs, insects, and other small creatures during dry spells, supporting biodiversity in unexpected ways. In the shadowy undergrowth of Indian forests, sloth bears emerge at dusk to raid termite mounds. Their long, flexible snouts and specialized lips allow them to vacuum up thousands of termites and ants in a single feeding. By consuming vast numbers of insects, sloth bears help regulate populations that, if left unchecked, could damage the delicate balance of the forest ecosystem. Their predation prevents outbreaks that might otherwise strip the forest floor of its protective leaf litter. As they dig and forage, bears stir the leaf litter, mixing organic material into the soil and creating open patches where sunlight can reach the ground. These gaps become nurseries for new seedlings, fostering plant diversity and forest resilience. Bears are also among the most effective dispersers of berries, nuts, and fruits. Their varied diet ensures that a wide array of plant species benefit from their movements. Their journeys, which can span entire mountain ranges and cross rivers, transport seeds to remote and otherwise inaccessible locations, facilitating the spread of plant life across fragmented landscapes. Seeds deposited in bear scat are often encased in natural fertilizer, giving them a greater chance of survival. This process bridges isolated habitats, maintaining genetic diversity and ecosystem health. Even seeds caught in a bear's fur or dropped along their winding trails contribute to the spread of life, making each bear a living vessel for the future of the forest. In every ecosystem they inhabit, bears act as ecosystem engineers. Their behaviors, digging, foraging, dispersing, and feeding, modify the landscape in ways that benefit countless other species. The cumulative effect of their actions ripples outward, shaping the structure of forests, nurturing the growth of new plants, and sustaining a rich diversity of animal and plant life. The presence of bears is a sign of a thriving, balanced ecosystem. Though their presence may be fleeting and their paths solitary, the mark they leave is enduring, etched into the roots of ancient trees, carried by the rivers they cross, and echoed in the rhythms of the wild landscapes they help sustain. Before the first bear ever set paw upon the mossy floors of ancient forests, the jagged ridges of mountain ranges, or the wind-scoured tundras of the far north, their evolutionary journey began in a world unrecognizable to us today, a world teeming with unfamiliar life and shifting continents. The saga of bears is inscribed in the silent language of stone, fossilized bones and teeth embedded in strata that date back over 30 million years, each layer a chapter in the unfolding story of life on Earth. Their earliest ancestors were diminutive, agile mammals, bearing a striking resemblance to today's raccoons, with slender bodies, dexterous paws, and masked faces. These creatures threaded their way through tangled undergrowth, foraged among leaf litter, and navigated the labyrinthine waterways of primordial wetlands, relying on sharp senses and nimble movements to survive. As the planet's climate oscillated between warm, humid epochs and frigid glacial intervals, these ancestral mammals diversified. Some adapted to the cooling forests, developing thicker fur and more robust bodies, while others ventured into open woodlands and marshes, exploiting new food sources and ecological niches. Among their descendants were the formidable amphibianids, often called bear dogs, with elongated snouts, powerful limbs, and a predatory gait. These apex hunters roamed vast floodplains and wooded valleys, their presence marked by fossilized footprints and shattered bones of prey. Yet not all followed the path of the predator. Some lineages grew smaller, more secretive, and began to display the first hints of the traits that would define true bears: solitary habits, a reliance on dens for shelter, and a growing omnivorous appetite. As tectonic plates drifted and collided, the continents themselves transformed, giving rise to new mountain chains, isolating populations, and creating a mosaic of habitats, dense forests, open meadows, and icy expanses, each presenting unique evolutionary pressures. The dawn bear, Ursavus, emerged as a small, forest-dwelling omnivore, its diet a varied palette of ripe fruits, succulent insects, and the occasional small vertebrate. With flexible limbs and sharp claws, it climbed trees in search of nourishment and safety, its senses finely attuned to the rhythms of the forest. Over millions of years, Ursavus's descendants underwent dramatic transformations. Some evolved into the ancestors of today's grizzly and brown bears, developing immense size, formidable strength, and jaws capable of crushing bone or prying apart rotting logs in search of grubs. These bears mastered the art of fishing, standing motionless in icy rivers, waiting for the precise moment to snatch a leaping salmon from the current. Others became specialists, adept climbers scaling towering trees to escape danger or reach hidden food, or like the giant panda, evolving a pseudo-thumb and powerful jaws to subsist almost entirely on tough bamboo stalks. Some developed a taste for honey, braving swarms of stinging insects to raid beehives nestled high in ancient trunks. The fossil record reveals giants like the short-faced bear Arctodus simus towering over all other terrestrial carnivores of the Ice Age, its long limbs built for speed across open plains. In stark contrast, the modern panda, with its gentle demeanor and specialized diet, exemplifies the extraordinary adaptability and diversity of the bear lineage. Glacial advances sculpted the land, forcing bear populations to migrate, adapt, or perish. Some retreated into refuges carved by ice, while others flourished in the lush, temperate forests and sunlit meadows that followed each warming period, their populations rising and falling with the ebb and flow of the climate. Every adaptation, whether a more sensitive nose for detecting distant scents, a paw capable of manipulating objects with surprising dexterity, or a digestive system able to process both meat and vegetation, was a direct response to the relentless demands of survival in a world of perpetual change. Today, the 8 extant bear species, each occupying a distinct ecological niche, stand as living monuments to this evolutionary odyssey. From the diminutive sun bear of Southeast Asia's rainforests to the massive polar bear traversing the Arctic pack ice, each species embodies a unique set of adaptations honed by millions of years of natural selection. The bear's anatomy is a testament to its ancient heritage: a nose lined with millions of scent receptors, paws equipped for digging, climbing, and grasping, and a jaw structure capable of crushing, grinding, and tearing a wide array of foods, from berries and roots to fish and carrion. Across the globe, bears inhabit some of the planet's most challenging environments. The polar bear, cloaked in dense water-repellent fur, stalks seals across shifting sea ice. The spectacled bear navigates the misty cloud forests of the Andes, feeding on bromeliads and fruits. The American black bear adapts to forests, swamps, and mountains, while the panda's existence is intricately tied to the bamboo thickets of China's highlands. Each is a living chronicle of adaptation, resilience, and the enduring power of evolution. In the intricate web of life, bears are more than survivors. They are sculptors of ecosystems, dispersers of seeds, and regulators of prey populations. Their presence echoes through the ages, a living bridge between the ancient world and the present, bearing silent witness to the ceaseless dance of adaptation, extinction, and renewal that defines the history of life on Earth. In the deep silence of winter, beneath a thick blanket of snow and frozen earth, a hidden world stirs to life. Within the insulated darkness of a bear's den, the air is heavy with warmth and the faint, steady rhythm of a mother's breathing. Here, in this secluded sanctuary, the first moments of a bear cub's existence unfold, delicate, unseen, and miraculous. The newborn cubs, scarcely larger than a squirrel, are born blind and nearly hairless, their skin pink and translucent. They are utterly helpless, relying entirely on the enveloping warmth of their mother's body and the gentle vibrations of her heartbeat. The den's darkness is absolute, broken only by the subtle movement of the cubs as they instinctively nuzzle for milk, guided by scent and touch alone. Their world is confined to the soft, insulating fur of their mother and the muffled sounds of her shifting in the den. The cub's first nourishment comes from rich, fatty milk, a product of the mother's remarkable physiological adaptation, her body drawing on fat reserves accumulated during months of relentless foraging before hibernation. Each feeding is a quiet struggle, the cubs' tiny mouths seeking sustenance in the darkness, their bodies pressed close for warmth and security. Over the course of several weeks, the cubs grow rapidly, their bodies transforming as they absorb the nutrients provided by their mother. Their fur thickens, their eyes slowly begin to open, and their limbs strengthen. The den remains a world apart, a cocoon of safety where the cubs are shielded from the harsh realities of the frozen landscape above. As the grip of winter loosens and the first hints of spring seep into the forest, the den's entrance is touched by pale, filtered sunlight. The snow melts in slow rivulets and the air grows damp and rich with the scent of thawing earth. For the cubs, this subtle change signals the beginning of a new chapter. With tentative movements, the cubs follow their mother toward the den's mouth, blinking against the unfamiliar brightness. The outside world is vast and overwhelming, a mosaic of shifting light, tangled undergrowth, and the lingering chill of early spring. Every sound is new, every scent a mystery to be unraveled. Their first steps are unsteady, paws sinking into the spongy moss and damp leaves that carpet the forest floor. The cubs move with a mixture of caution and curiosity, their senses bombarded by the complexity of their surroundings. Each footfall is a lesson in balance as they learn to navigate uneven terrain and decipher the subtle cues of the wild. Under the watchful gaze of their mother, the cubs begin to explore through play. They tumble and wrestle, their movements clumsy but purposeful. These playful interactions are more than mere amusement. They are essential exercises in coordination, strength, and social learning. The mother communicates with low, rumbling calls, each sound carrying a specific meaning, reassurance, warning, or instruction. Through mock battles and gentle sparring, the cubs develop vital survival skills. Their reflexes sharpen as they learn to anticipate each other's movements, practicing the maneuvers that will one day help them evade predators or compete for food. Climbing becomes a crucial skill as the cubs scramble up tree trunks with surprising agility. Trees offer both refuge from danger and a vantage point for exploration. The cubs test their limits, learning how to grip bark, balance on swaying branches, and descend safely to the ground. Their senses grow keener with each passing day. The cubs learn to interpret the rich tapestry of scents carried on the breeze, identifying the musk of other animals, the aroma of potential food, and the subtle warning of a predator's presence. Their ears are tuned to the faintest rustle in the undergrowth, the distant call of a bird, or the sudden silence that signals danger. Foraging is a constant endeavor. The cubs observe their mother closely, mimicking her every move as she searches for sustenance. The forest floor is a treasure trove of edible roots, insects, and shoots, each discovery a small victory in the daily struggle for nourishment. Under her guidance, the cubs learn to overturn stones in search of grubs and beetles, their claws scraping at the damp earth. They watch as she demonstrates how to sniff out hidden caches of food, her patience and precision a model for their own developing skills. When berry season arrives, the cubs are introduced to the art of foraging among thorny bushes. They learn to distinguish ripe fruit from unripe, to pluck berries delicately with their lips, and to avoid the sharp spines that guard these sweet rewards. Along rushing streams, the cubs witness their mother's prowess as a fisher. They watch intently as she positions herself in the current, timing her strikes with precision. The cubs practice their own clumsy attempts, swiping at darting fish and learning to read the water's flow. Each meal is an exercise in patience and ingenuity. The cubs experiment with different techniques, sometimes succeeding, often failing, but always learning. Their problem-solving abilities are tested and refined with every challenge the wild presents. The wild, however, is an unpredictable teacher. Storms sweep through the forest, drenching the cubs and their mother in cold rain. The landscape transforms, streams swell and shelter becomes scarce. The cubs huddle together for warmth, their instincts guiding them to seek cover and conserve energy. Danger is ever present. Predators such as wolves prowl the shadows, their presence betrayed only by fleeting glimpses or the sudden tension in the air. The cubs learn to recognize the signs of threat, the sharp scent of a carnivore, the alarm calls of birds, the abrupt stillness that precedes an ambush. The mother bear's vigilance is unwavering. She positions herself between her cubs and any perceived threat, her senses finely tuned to the slightest disturbance. Her presence is both shield and reassurance, a living barrier against the dangers of the wild. The cubs are quick to learn the importance of caution. At the faintest hint of danger, a distant howl, the scent of a predator, they freeze, bodies tense and senses alert, waiting for their mother's signal. When necessary, they vanish into the dense undergrowth, their fur blending seamlessly with the dappled shadows. Stillness becomes their ally, a vital tactic for avoiding detection in a world where survival depends on remaining unseen. As the seasons progress, the cubs grow in strength and confidence. Their movements become more assured, their explorations bolder. They venture further from the safety of their mother's side, testing their independence in the open meadows and tangled forests. Their coats thicken in preparation for the coming cold, muscles developing beneath layers of fur. The cubs' bodies reflect the success of their early lessons, robust, agile, and increasingly self-reliant. By the time autumn's golden light filters through the trees, the cubs are transformed. No longer fragile infants, they are apprentices of the wild, each moment of play and every hard-won lesson woven into the fabric of their survival. Eventually the time comes for the young bears to part from their mother. With a final nuzzle or lingering glance, they set out alone, guided by instincts honed through months of observation and experience. Their journey into the wilderness is just beginning. Each step forward is a testament to their adaptability, courage, and the ancient drive to endure in a world that is both beautiful and unforgiving. In the luminous gaze of every bear cub lies the promise of the wild's future, resilient, resourceful, and forever shaped by the intricate lessons of their earliest days. As the calendar turns, bears across the globe become attuned to the subtle cues of their environment, shifting daylight, cooling air, and the gradual transformation of their wild domains. Each species, from the dense forests of North America to the icy tundra of the Arctic and the misty mountains of South America, responds with remarkable precision to these seasonal changes. In the remote reaches of the north, the first whispers of winter arrive on biting winds that sweep across frozen rivers and through stands of ancient spruce. The landscape is slowly cloaked in frost, and the air grows sharp with the promise of snow. Brown bears, sensing the urgency of the coming cold, embark on a relentless quest for nourishment. Along rushing rivers they snatch salmon with powerful jaws, their fur slick with water and scales. In the forest, they comb the undergrowth for ripe berries, their claws stained purple, and overturn logs in search of insects and roots. Every mouthful is transformed into precious fat, their bodies swelling in preparation for the long months ahead. As the first snowflakes spiral down, the bear's foraging becomes frantic. The ground hardens, streams freeze, and the bounty of autumn vanishes beneath a white shroud. Each bear must consume enough to sustain itself through the coming scarcity, for soon the world will be hushed beneath a blanket of snow, and the forest will fall silent except for the wind. With bellies heavy and energy waning, the bears retreat to hidden sanctuaries. Some wedge themselves into shallow caves, their entrances masked by fallen branches and drifting snow. Others squeeze into the hollow trunks of ancient trees or excavate burrows deep into the earth, shaping a chamber that will cradle them through the winter's grip. Within these secluded dens, the ritual of hibernation unfolds. The bear circles, trampling down a bed of leaves and moss, then curls into itself, nose tucked beneath a paw, as darkness settles in. Deep inside the den, the bear's physiology transforms. Its heart rate drops from 40 beats per minute to as few as 8. Breaths become shallow and infrequent, and the animal's temperature lowers, conserving every ounce of energy. Muscles and organs are preserved, and the bear enters a state of suspended animation, where time seems to slow and the outside world fades away. Above ground, blizzards howl and snow piles high, but within the den, the bear remains insulated from the chaos. For weeks and months it neither eats nor drinks, surviving solely on the fat reserves built during autumn's abundance. The bear's body recycles waste, preventing dehydration and muscle loss, a feat unmatched in the animal kingdom. In this timeless darkness, a miracle unfolds. Pregnant females give birth to tiny, blind cubs, each no larger than a stick of butter. The mother, still in her torpor, instinctively draws her newborns close, providing warmth and nourishment from her own body. The den becomes a nursery, echoing with the faint squeaks of new life as the cubs nurse and grow, sheltered from the winter's fury. Yet not every bear succumbs to the deep sleep of hibernation. Some, especially in milder climates, may stir during warm spells, shifting position or even emerging briefly to explore the snow-blanketed world before returning to their shelter. In the emerald rainforests of Southeast Asia, the sun bear's existence is shaped by a different rhythm. Here, the air remains humid and the canopy dense, with sunlight filtering through layers of green. The seasons are marked not by snow, but by cycles of rain and fruiting trees. Rather than hibernating, sun bears adapt to the unpredictable abundance of the tropics. They roam the forest floor and climb towering trees, tearing open termite mounds, stripping bark for honey, and plucking figs and jackfruit from the branches. Their days and nights are dictated by the ever-changing availability of food, demanding constant vigilance and adaptability. In the cloud-wreathed Andes, the spectacled bear navigates a world of steep slopes and shifting mists. The air is cool and damp, and the forest is alive with the calls of distant birds and the drip of rain from moss-laden branches. These bears are expert climbers, ascending into the canopy to harvest bromeliads and wild fruits, or descending to lower elevations as the seasons dictate. Their movements are a delicate dance, timed to the ripening of fruit and the ebb and flow of rainfall, ensuring survival in a landscape of constant change. Even among hibernators, the experience is far from uniform. Some bears choose dens high on windswept ridges, others burrow deep beneath tangled roots or beneath the snow itself. The architecture of each den is as unique as the bear that inhabits it, shaped by instinct and the demands of the landscape. In temperate forests, black bears may awaken on unseasonably warm days, their breath steaming in the crisp air as they step outside to investigate the world. Paw prints mark the softening snow, evidence of a brief excursion before the bear returns to the safety of its den. The polar bear, monarch of the Arctic, faces a different challenge, Unlike its relatives, it does not enter true hibernation. Instead, it remains active throughout the winter, traversing vast expanses of sea ice in search of seals, its primary prey. Only pregnant females carve out dens in snowdrifts, where they give birth and nurture their cubs in the heart of winter. The rest of the population roams the shifting ice, ever alert to the cracks and leads that signal both danger and opportunity, their survival dependent on the rhythm of freeze and thaw. Across continents and climates, each bear species has evolved a distinct strategy for enduring the challenges of its environment. Some sleep deeply, others remain vigilant, but all are shaped by the relentless cycle of the seasons, a tapestry of behaviors woven from necessity and adaptation. Whether braving blizzards, emerging hungry from months of torpor, or foraging through monsoon rains, bears endure the extremes of feast and famine, cold and warmth. Their survival is a testament to the power of adaptation and the resilience of life itself. From the frozen silence of winter to the vibrant flush of summer, the journey of the bear is a story of perpetual motion and transformation, guided by the eternal interplay of earth, weather, and instinct, a living testament to the wild's enduring spirit. Beneath the rugged, muscular frame of every bear lies a world of astonishing sensory perception and cognitive depth, honed by millennia of evolution in some of the planet's most demanding environments. Each sense is a finely tuned instrument, working in concert to interpret and respond to the subtle cues of the wilderness. In the stillness of ancient forests, a bear's nose is its most powerful tool. The nasal cavity is lined with hundreds of millions of scent receptors, far surpassing those of most mammals. This extraordinary olfactory system allows bears to detect the faintest traces of scent, whether it's the musk of a distant mate, the subtle aroma of ripening berries hidden beneath foliage, or the lingering scent of a carcass carried on the wind for miles. They can even distinguish between individual animals, identifying rivals or kin by scent alone. Their perception of the world is layered with invisible trails of aroma, mapping out territories, food sources, and potential dangers. These scent pathways guide them through tangled undergrowth, across swift rivers, and up steep, rocky slopes, even in the absence of visual cues. Bears possess acute hearing, capable of detecting frequencies both above and below the range of human perception. Their mobile, sensitive ears can pinpoint the direction of even the faintest sounds. The soft rustle of a vole beneath the grass, the flutter of a bird's wings, or the distant crack of a branch underfoot, all are registered and analyzed. This auditory acuity is vital for both hunting and avoiding threats, especially in dense habitats where visibility is limited. Contrary to common belief, a bear's vision is highly adapted for its lifestyle. Their eyes are equipped with a reflective layer, the tapetum lucidum, which enhances night vision and allows them to move confidently at dawn, dusk, or in the deep shadows of the forest. For polar bears, sharp eyesight is essential for detecting the subtle movement of seals against the vast white expanse of Arctic ice. Their ability to discern contrast and movement at great distances is a matter of survival. In contrast, the spectacled bear of South America navigates the shifting, dappled light of cloud forests, relying on keen vision to move through dense, misty vegetation and locate fruit high in the canopy. Yet it is the bear's mind that truly sets it apart. Their brains are large and complex, supporting advanced memory, spatial awareness, and problem-solving abilities. Bears memorize vast territories, recalling the locations of food sources, den sites, and safe passages through ever-changing landscapes. They can retrace routes across hundreds of kilometers, adapting to seasonal shifts and environmental changes with remarkable precision. At salmon-rich rivers, bears remember the timing of spawning runs, returning year after year to the same bends and pools. In forests, they revisit productive berry patches, timing their arrival to coincide with peak ripeness. They navigate by memory and environmental cues, following well-worn trails or forging new paths when conditions demand, always assessing risk and opportunity. When confronted with obstacles such as a locked food cache, a swiftly flowing river, or a precarious cliff, bears demonstrate ingenuity and persistence. They experiment with different strategies, manipulating objects, testing barriers, and learning from each attempt. Their dexterous paws and powerful claws are used not only for digging or climbing, but for delicate investigation, rolling logs to uncover insects, prying open nests, or even unscrewing lids from containers. From their earliest days, cubs are driven by insatiable curiosity. They sniff, paw, and listen, absorbing information about their environment and learning the skills essential for survival. Play is a vital part of their development. Through wrestling, chasing, and mimicking adults, cubs refine their coordination, test boundaries, and build social bonds that will shape their future interactions. Even mature bears engage in playful acts, rolling in fresh snow to cool off or mark territory, wrestling with logs to hone strength and dexterity, or simply indulging in moments of apparent joy. Foraging is approached with both patience and precision. Bears delicately dismantle ant nests, extract grubs from rotting wood, or pluck berries one by one, demonstrating remarkable control and focus. This intricate blend of heightened senses and adaptive intelligence enables bears to flourish in an extraordinary range of habitats, from the frozen tundra and windswept coasts to humid jungles and arid mountains. Every silent step, every carefully placed paw print is a testament to their mastery of the wild, a legacy of survival encoded in instinct and experience. To truly understand the bear is to witness the intricate interplay of senses and intellect that defines their existence, a glimpse into the profound complexity and adaptability of nature's most enigmatic giants. Across immense, untouched wildernesses, where ancient forests stretch unbroken to the horizon and mountains rise in silent majesty, the fate of bears teeters on a razor's edge, shaped by forces both visible and unseen. Once, these landscapes echoed only with the sounds of wind and wildlife. Now, the relentless advance of human activity leaves deep scars, towering trees felled in vast clearings, rivers choked and redirected by concrete barriers, and ribbons of asphalt slicing through the heart of primeval woodlands. The ancient tapestry of bear habitat is unraveled thread by thread as their world is carved into fragments. Far to the north, polar bears traverse a labyrinth of thinning sea ice, each step a calculated risk on a surface that grows more treacherous with every season. The once endless expanse of solid ice is now a patchwork of fragile floes drifting apart under the relentless pressure of a warming climate. Mothers, driven by instinct and necessity, plunge into frigid waters with their cubs trailing behind, forced to swim for miles between shrinking ice platforms. The cold bites at their muscles, exhaustion threatens to overwhelm them, and the promise of a meal grows ever more uncertain as seals become harder to find. In temperate regions, brown bears and black bears navigate a landscape transformed into a mosaic of isolated woodlands and barren clearings. The dense, shadowy forests that once offered shelter and abundant food are now interrupted by open scars of logging and development, forcing bears to cross exposed ground in search of sustenance. Asphalt roads wind through the trees, their surfaces shimmering with heat, while the distant hum of vehicles signals danger. Bears, compelled by hunger or curiosity, risk crossing these artificial barriers, their ancient migration routes severed by the relentless march of infrastructure. The proximity of settlements brings new hazards, garbage, noise, and the ever-present threat of conflict. The air is thick with tension as bears move through these altered landscapes, their senses heightened, every sound and scent a potential warning. The loss of habitat is only the beginning of their struggle. In the shadows beneath the trees, unseen dangers lurk. The presence of poachers is betrayed only by the faintest disturbance, a snapped twig, a glint of metal, the lingering scent of humans. Bears, unaware of the peril, move through these spaces, vulnerable to traps and bullets. In distant markets, the remains of bears, gallbladders, paws, and pelts are displayed as commodities, their value measured not in life, but in currency. The illegal wildlife trade operates in the shadows, its reach extending from remote forests to bustling cities, driving relentless pressure on dwindling populations. Snares and steel-jawed traps, set with cruel indifference, lie hidden beneath the undergrowth. They do not discriminate. Any creature that stumbles upon them is ensnared. The forest floor bears silent witness to these tragedies. A paw caught in cold metal, a lifeless body concealed by ferns, the quiet end of a journey that began in hope. Yet even as darkness gathers, the wild offers moments of resilience. Bear cubs tumble and play in the dappled light of dawn, their innocence undimmed by the threats that surround them. The first rays of sunlight illuminate a world where hope persists, fragile but unbroken. Across continents, dedicated conservationists move quietly through the forests, setting up camera traps and monitoring tracks. Local communities, deeply connected to the land, join in the effort, restoring habitats, removing snares, and safeguarding the wild spaces that remain. In North America, intricate networks of wildlife corridors are engineered to reconnect fragmented habitats. Underpasses and overpasses, camouflaged with native vegetation, allow bears to move safely beneath roaring highways, their ancient paths restored by modern ingenuity. In the shrouded cloud forests of South America, the elusive Andean bear finds sanctuary within protected reserves. Educational signs, weathered by mist and rain, stand at the forest's edge, sharing knowledge about these secretive creatures and encouraging coexistence with the villages that border their realm. Advanced technology brings new insight. Motion-triggered cameras capture bears as they move under the cover of darkness, while satellite collars transmit precise data on their journeys through rugged terrain. Each signal, each image, adds a vital piece to the puzzle of their survival, informing strategies grounded in science and observation. The wisdom of those who have lived alongside bears for generations is woven into every conservation effort. Indigenous elders, their knowledge shaped by centuries of observation, share stories of bear behavior, migration, and the subtle signs of change in the land. From the snow-laden forests of Hokkaido, where the Ainu honor the bear as a sacred being, to the wind-swept tundra of the Arctic, where indigenous peoples observe the rhythms of the seasons, ancient traditions guide a respectful relationship with these powerful animals. Their ceremonies and crafts reflect a deep reverence for the bear's role in the ecosystem. The forest itself tells the story, paw prints pressed into new fallen snow, the faint rustle of leaves betraying a bear's silent passage, the hidden entrance to a den where life endures through the harshest months. These subtle signs are the only evidence of a presence both powerful and elusive. At dawn, a bear emerges from its winter refuge, steam rising from its fur in the chill air. A family moves in single file through the undergrowth, their movements almost imperceptible, blending seamlessly with the rhythm of the wild. In these moments, the quiet drama of survival unfolds unseen by human eyes. The future is shaped in these hidden places, a lush valley, untouched and thriving, where a solitary bear forages among wildflowers, a conservation sign, weathered but steadfast, marking the boundary of a sanctuary, legal protections written into law that shield these habitats from harm. Each measure, each act of stewardship strengthens the fragile web of life. As the sun sets behind distant peaks, the silhouette of a bear stands at the forest's edge, framed by the golden light. The landscape stretches out in all directions, untamed, intricate, and alive. The future of bears is not predetermined. It is a living story, written in the patterns of rivers, the shadows of trees, and the enduring will to preserve what is wild and irreplaceable. Beneath the towering canopy and across the frozen tundra, an ancient conversation unfolds, silent, nuanced, and rarely witnessed by human eyes. For bears, language is not a matter of sound, but of signs etched into the very fabric of their world. Each paw print pressed into soft mud, Each claw mark raked down the trunk of a tree is a message sent and received in a dialect older than words. In the dense forests where sunlight filters through shifting leaves, a brown bear rises on its hind legs, powerful claws scoring deep grooves into the bark of a spruce. This is no random act of strength. The height of the marks declares the size and vigor of the bear, a bold statement to rivals and potential mates alike. Months later, the scars remain layered over years, a living ledger of the forest's unseen dramas. But not all messages are written. Along winding game trails, the air is thick with invisible signals. Bears possess an intricate palette of scent glands, beneath their paws, at the base of their tails, and along their flanks. With every step, a bear leaves behind a trace, a complex blend of pheromones, hormones, and oils. On a mossy log or a favored rubbing tree, these scents linger long after the animal has vanished, telling of gender, readiness to mate, or even the boundaries of an individual's territory. A solitary Andean bear pauses at a moss-covered boulder, snuffling intently. With a slow, deliberate rub of its cheek, it adds its own signature to the symphony of odors, weaving its presence into the tapestry of the cloud forest. For another bear passing days later, a single breath is enough to decode the message. Friend, rival, or potential mate. Even their footfalls are a form of communication. Deep in the taiga, a mother black bear and her cubs move in single file, careful to step in the exact prints left by the matriarch. This ghostly procession minimizes noise and scent, teaching the young the art of invisibility, a vital lesson in a world where silence is survival. In the high Arctic, where the wind scours the snow clean, polar bears use their acute sense of smell to track distant kin or rivals. A faint whiff on the breeze can reveal the passage of another bear from miles away, guiding movements across the ever-shifting ice. Within the realm of bears, the forest itself becomes a living archive. Every mark, every scent, every subtle disturbance is a page in the ongoing story of their lives, a narrative written not with voices, but with the brushstrokes of instinct and adaptation. In this wordless dialogue, bears shape their social world, forging connections and settling disputes, all without a single sound. Here, in the language of claws and scent, the secret lives of bears are revealed, not as solitary wanderers, but as participants in a silent, intricate web of communication that binds them to one another and to the wild places they call home. Across continents and climates, bears are not merely residents of their wild domains. They are architects, quietly sculpting the very landscapes they roam. Deep in the salmon-rich rivers of Alaska, a brown bear stands midstream, muscles tensed, claws poised. With a swift motion, it snatches a gleaming salmon from the torrent, carrying its prize to the mossy bank. Here, the bear's feast becomes more than a personal triumph. As scraps and bones are left behind, nutrients seep into the soil, nourishing forests that stretch for miles. Ravens, foxes, and even the roots of towering spruce trees benefit from the bear's appetite, each meal weaving a thread through the fabric of the ecosystem. High in the cloud forests of South America, the Andean bear, elusive and solitary, plays a different but equally vital role. Moving through the misty canopy, it feeds on wild fruits and bromeliads, scattering seeds in its wake. Days later, these seeds sprout, rejuvenating the forest and ensuring food for countless species. In this way, the bear's wanderings become a lifeline, connecting distant groves and sustaining the delicate balance of life above and below the clouds. On the tundra, polar bears leave a different legacy. When a hunt is successful and a seal is brought to shore, the remnants of the meal become a banquet for Arctic foxes, gulls, and even microorganisms hidden beneath the snow. Nothing is wasted, every scrap is repurposed by the hungry land. Even in the dense forests of Asia, the sloth bears digging for termites and ants turns over the earth, aerating the soil and opening pathways for new plant growth. Each overturned log and exposed root is a sign of renewal, a subtle but profound act of cultivation. In every corner of the world, bears are more than predators or foragers. They are guardians of abundance, their daily lives quietly shaping the destiny of entire habitats. Through their hunger, their movement, and their unending search for sustenance, bears nurture the wild, leaving behind a legacy as rich and enduring as the forests, rivers, and mountains they call home. From the frozen reaches of the Arctic Circle to the humid depths of Southeast Asian jungles, bears have mastered the art of survival by adapting to some of the planet's most challenging environments. Each species, though united by lineage, has developed its own toolkit for thriving amid extremes. In the icy north, the polar bear's world is a shifting mosaic of sea ice and open water. Here, its creamy fur is more than camouflage. It's a thermal marvel, trapping heat and shedding snow. Underneath, a thick layer of blubber insulates against bitter winds and frigid seas. With senses tuned to the faintest scent of a distant seal, the polar bear moves with calculated precision, navigating cracks in the ice with the memory of ancient migratory paths. Far to the south, the sun bear faces a different set of challenges. In the tangled rainforests of Borneo, it climbs with ease, using sickle-shaped claws to scale towering trees. Its tongue, unusually long and agile, slips into crevices to extract honey and insects. Even its short, sleek coat is an adaptation. Shedding water quickly and guarding against swarms of biting insects. In the dense forests of North America and Eurasia, brown and black bears display astonishing flexibility. As seasons shift, so do their diets. In spring, they graze on tender shoots and roots. Come summer, they turn to berries, nuts, and fish. Their bodies respond in kind. Metabolisms ramp up or slow down, storing energy for the lean months ahead. When winter's chill arrives, bears retreat to dens, entering a state of torpor that conserves precious calories. Up in the Andes, the spectacled bear has learned to live among steep cliffs and cloud-shrouded forests, foraging on a diet rich in fruit, bromeliads, and even cactus. Meanwhile, the sloth bear of the Indian subcontinent shuns the cold entirely, emerging at dusk to avoid midday heat and predators alike. Bears' ability to read their environment is unmatched. They sense the first flush of spring, the ripening of fruit, the movement of prey beneath snow or soil. Generation after generation, these skills are passed down, each bear learning from the land and from the subtle lessons of its ancestors. It is this adaptability, this seamless melding of biology and behavior, that has allowed bears to endure where others have vanished. In every corner of their vast, wild world, bears are living proof that the key to survival lies not in strength alone, but in the art of adaptation. In the heart of the wilderness, bears are not just predators or scavengers. They are consummate foragers, each species possessing a palate as diverse as the landscapes they roam. Watch as a grizzly pauses beside a riverbank, its nose twitching, sifting the air for the scent of ripening berries hidden beneath the undergrowth. With surprising delicacy, it plucks the fruit, rolling each morsel on its tongue, savoring the sweet burst before moving on to the next bush. High in the canopy, a sun bear dangles effortlessly from a branch, its long tongue flickering into a honeycomb. The bear's acute sense of smell has guided it to this treasure where it braves angry bees for a taste of golden nectar. In a single day, it may visit dozens of hives, each one a testament to its persistence and ingenuity. Elsewhere, a spectacled bear threads through a cloud forest, pausing to strip leaves from a bromeliad. It carefully selects only the tenderest shoots, leaving the rest to grow anew. Unlike the brute force often associated with their kind, bears display remarkable restraint and selectivity in their search for food. Even the mighty polar bear, often seen as a relentless hunter, demonstrates patience as it waits motionless beside a breathing hole in the ice. Hours may pass before a seal emerges, but the bear's discipline is unwavering, each meal hard-won in a world of scarcity. From lifting rocks to uncover grubs to gently opening pine cones for seeds, bears employ a suite of techniques honed by generations of trial and error. Their memory for fruitful locations and seasonal abundance is legendary. A bear will return year after year to the same salmon-rich stream or berry-laden hillside, guided by instinct and experience. In these moments, the bear's world is one of taste, texture, and timing, a delicate balance between opportunity and restraint. And in the quiet rustle of leaves or the soft crunch of shells, we witness the true artistry of a forager, a creature shaped not just by what it eats, but by how it finds, chooses, and cherishes every bite. Across sprawling forests, icy tundras, and mountain valleys, bears are often cast as the ultimate loners, silent wanderers whose lives unfold far from the bustle of packs or herds. But beneath this surface of solitude lies a nuanced social tapestry, woven from fleeting encounters, silent negotiations, and occasional alliances. Watch as a brown bear circles the edge of a salmon stream, its eyes sweeping the banks not just for fish, but for signs of rivals. The air is thick with scent. Messages left on tree trunks, paw marks pressed deep into mud, or a tuft of fur snagged on coarse bark. Each trace tells a story: who passed by, how recently, and whether they pose a threat or an opportunity. On a berry-laden hillside in late summer, the boundaries blur. Multiple bears converge, drawn by abundance. They feed in uneasy truce, their body language a ballet of glances, postures, and subtle shifts. A young subadult hovers at the periphery, gauging the mood of elders, learning the unspoken rules of proximity and retreat. Occasionally, a mother with cubs asserts her dominance with a low growl, sending would-be intruders scurrying. In polar regions, solitary bears cross paths at the edge of melting ice floes. Two giants approach, their breath visible in the chill air. There is no roar, no clash, just a slow, deliberate circling, a mutual assessment. Sometimes a brief partnership forms. Two males may travel together for days, sharing a kill before parting ways, their alliance dictated by the harsh mathematics of survival. Even the elusive Andean bear leaves clues of kinship. Researchers have observed communal trees where claw marks and fur suggest generations of bears have climbed, scent-marked, and lingered. These are social hubs, silent meeting points in a vast green world. Yet for all their solitary reputation, bears are not strangers to connection. During the mating season, males and females engage in cautious courtship, circling and sniffing, their interactions a delicate dance of risk and reward. Mothers and cubs, meanwhile, form the most intimate of bonds, months of devoted instruction, protection, and play, until the young are ready to step into the world alone. In these rare moments of overlap, we glimpse the hidden social lives of bears, complex, adaptive, and ever-evolving. Their world is one of solitude, yes, but also of brief alliances, silent messages, and the quiet company of their own kind, written in the language of shadows and scents.